Crucible, Act 2. The common room of Proctor's house, 8 days later. At the right is a door opening on the fields outside. A fireplace is at the left, and behind it a stairway leading upstairs. It is the low, dark, and rather long living room of the time. As the curtain rises, the room is empty. From above, Elizabeth is heard softly singing to the children. Presently the door opens and John Proctor enters, carrying his gun. He glances about the room as he comes toward the fireplace and then halts for an instant as he hears her singing. He continues on to the fireplace, leans the gun against the wall as he swings a pot out of the fire and smells it. And then he lifts out the ladle and tastes. He's not quite pleased. He reaches to a cupboard, takes a pinch of salt and drops it into the pot. As he's tasting again, her footsteps are heard on the stairs. He swings the pot into the fireplace and goes to a basin and washes his hands and face. Elizabeth enters. "What keeps you so late? It's almost dark." "I were planting far out to the forest edge." "Oh, you're done then?" "Aye, the farm is seeded. The boys asleep?" "They will be soon," and she goes to the fireplace, proceeds to ladle up stew in a dish. "Pray now for a fair summer." "Aye. Are you well today?" "I am." She brings the plate to the table and indicating the food. "It is a rabbit." Proctor going to the table. "Oh, is it? In Jonathan's trap?" Elizabeth. "No, she walked into the house this afternoon. I found her sitting in the corner like she'd come to visit." "Oh, that's a good sign walking in." "Pray God, it hurt my heart to strip her, poor rabbit." She sits and watches him taste it. "It's well seasoned." Elizabeth, blushing with pleasure. "I took great care. She's tender?" "Aye." He eats and she watches him. "I think we'll see green fields soon. It's warm as blood beneath the clods." "That's well." Proctor eats and then looks up. "If the crop is good, I'll buy George Jacob's heifer. How would that please you?" "Aye, it would." Proctor with a grin. "I mean to please you, Elizabeth." Elizabeth. "It is hard to say." "I know it, John." He gets up, goes to her, kisses her. She receives it. With a certain disappointment, he returns to the table. As gently as he can. "Cider?" And Elizabeth, with a sense of reprimanding herself for having forgot. "Aye." And she gets up and goes and pours a glass for him, and he now arches his back. "This farm's a continent when you go foot by foot dropping seeds in it." "It must be." He drinks a long draught of cider and then, putting the glass down, "You ought to bring some flowers in the house." "Oh, I forgot. I will tomorrow." "It's winter in here. On Sunday, let you come with me and we'll walk the farm together. I never see such a load of flowers on the earth." With good feeling he goes and looks up at the sky through the open doorway. "Lilacs have a purple smell. Lilac is the smell of nightfall, I think. Massachusetts is a beauty in the spring." "Aye, it is." And there's a pause, and she's watching him from the table as he stands there absorbing the night. It is as though she would speak but cannot. Instead, now she takes up his plate and glass and fork and goes with them to the basin. Her back is turned to him. He turns to her and watches her. A sense of their separation rises. "Ah, I think you're sad again, are you?" She doesn't want friction, and yet she must. "You come so late. I thought you'd gone to Salem this afternoon." "Why, I have no business in Salem." "You did speak of going earlier this week." He knows what she means. "I thought better of it since." "Mary Warren's there today." "Why'd you let her? You heard me forbid her to go to Salem any more." "I couldn't stop her." Proctor holding back a full condemnation of her. "It is a fault. It is a fault, Elizabeth. You're the mistress here, not Mary Warren." "She's frightened all my strength away." "How may that mouse frighten you, Elizabeth? You—" "It is a mouse no more. I forbid her go." And she raises up her chin like the daughter of a prince and says to me, "I must go to Salem. Goody Proctor, I am an official of the court." "Court? What court?" "Aye, it is a proper court they have now. They've sent 4 judges out of Boston, she says, weighty magistrates of the general court, and at the head sits the deputy governor of province. Why, she's mad. I would to God she were. There be 14 people in jail now, she says. Proctor simply looks at her, unable to grasp it. And they'll be tried, and the court have power to hang them too, she says. They'd never hang. The deputy governor promises hanging if they'll not confess, John. The town's gone wild, I think. She speak of Abigail, and I thought she were a saint to hear her. Abigail brings the other girls into the court, and where she walks the crowd will part like the sea for Israel. And folks are brought before them, and if they scream and howl and fall to the floor, the person's clapped in the jail for bewitching them. Oh, it is black mischief. I think you must go to Salem, John. He turns to her. I think so. You must tell them it's a fraud. Aye, it is. It is surely. Let you go to Ezekiel Cheever. He knows you well. And tell him what she said to you last week in her uncle's house. She said it had naught to do with witchcraft, did she not? Aye, she did. Quietly, Elizabeth, fearing to anger him, but by prodding. God forbid you keep that from the court, John. I think they must be told. Aye, they must. It is a wonder they do believe her. I would go to Salem now, John. Let you go tonight. I'll think on it. You cannot keep it, John. I know I cannot keep it. I say I will think on it. Good. Then let you think on it. And she stands and starts to walk out of the room. I am only wondering how I may prove what she told me, Elizabeth. If the girl is a saint now, I think it is not easy to prove she's fraud. And the town gone so silly, she told it to me in a room, alone. I have no proof for it. You were alone with her? For a moment alone, aye. Well, then, it is not as you told me. For a moment, I say, the others come in soon after. Do as you wish, then, she starts to turn. Woman, she turns on him, I will not have your suspicion any more. I'll not have it. Then let you not earn it. You doubt me yet. John, if it were not Abigail that you must go to hurt, would you falter now? I think not. Now look you. I see what I see, John. You will not judge me more, Elizabeth. I have good reason to think before I charge fraud on Abigail, and I will think on it. Let you look to your own improvement before you go judge your husband any more. I have forgot Abigail, and I. Spare me. You forget nothing and forgive nothing. Learn charity, woman. I have gone tiptoe in this house all 7 months since she's gone. I have not moved from there to there without I think to please you, and still an everlasting funeral marches round your heart. I cannot speak, but I am doubted. Every moment judged for lies, as though I come into a court when I come into this house. John, you are not open with me. You saw her with a crowd, you said. Now I'll plead my honesty no more, Elizabeth. Now she would justify herself. John, I am only. No more. I should have roared you down when first you told me your suspicion. But I wilted, and like a Christian I confessed. Some dream I had must have mistaken you for God that day. But you're not, and let you remember it. Let you look sometimes for the goodness in me, and judge me not. I do not judge you. The magistrate sits in your heart that judges you. I never thought you but a good man, John, only somewhat bewildered. Oh, Elizabeth, your justice would freeze beer. He suddenly turns toward a sound outside. He starts for the door as Mary Warren enters. As soon as he sees her, he goes directly to her and grabs her by the cloak, furious. This is their servant, Mary Warren. How do you go to Salem when I forbid it? Do you mock me? Shaking her. I'll whip you if you dare leave this house again. Strangely, she doesn't resist him, but hangs limply by his grip. And this is Mary Warren. I am sick, Mr. Proctor. Pray, hurt me not. Her strangeness throws him off, and her evident pallor and weakness, and he frees her. My insides are all shuddery. I am in proceedings all day, sir. With draining anger, his curiosity is draining it. And what of these proceedings here? When will you proceed to keep this house? And you're paid £9 a year to do. And my wife not wholly well. As though to compensate, Mary Warren goes to Elizabeth with a small rag doll. I made a gift for you today, Goody Proctor. I had to sit long hours in a chair and pass the time with sewing. She's looking at it. Why, thank you. It's a fair poppet. We must all love each other now, Goody Proctor. Elizabeth's amazed by her strangeness. Aye, indeed, we must. Mary Warren glancing at the room. I'll get up early in the morning and clean the house. I must sleep now. She turns to start off. She halts. Proctor says, Mary? And she halts. Is it true? There be 14 women arrested? No, sir, there be 39 now. She suddenly breaks off and sobs and sits down exhausted. This is Elizabeth. Why, she's weeping. What ails you, child? Goody Osborne will hang. There is a shocked pause while she sobs. Hang? He calls into her face. Hang, you say? Mary Warren through a weeping. Aye. The deputy governor will permit it? He sentenced her. He must. But not Sarah Good, for Sarah Good confessed, you see. Confessed? To what? That she sometimes made a compact with Lucifer and wrote her name in his black book with her blood and bound herself to torment Christians till God's thrown down and we all must worship hell forevermore. But surely you know what a jabberer she is. Did you tell them that? Mr. Proctor, in open court, she near to choked us all to death. How choked you? She sent her spirit out. And this is Elizabeth. Oh, Mary, Marylee, surely you... She tried to kill me many times, Goody Proctor. Why, I never heard you mention that before. I never knew it before. I never knew anything before. When she come into the court, I say to myself, I must not accuse this woman, for she sleep in ditches, and she's so very old and poor. But then she sit there denying and I feel a misty coldness climbing up my back, and the skin on my skull begin to creep, and I feel a clamp around my neck, and I cannot breathe air. And then, entranced, I hear a voice, and a screaming voice, and it were my voice, and all at once I remember everything she done to me. Why, what did she do to you? Like one awakened to a marvelous insight. This is Mary Warren. So many times, Mr. Proctor, she come to this very door, begging bread and a cup of cider. And mark this, whenever I turned her away empty, she mumbled. This is Elizabeth. Mumbled? She may mumble if she's hungry. But what does she mumble? You must remember, Goody Proctor, last month, Monday, I think, she walked away, and I thought my guts would burst for 2 days after. Do you remember it? Why, I do, I think, but... And so I told that to Judge Hawthorne, and he asks her, Goody Osborne, says he, what curse do you mumble that this girl must fall sick after turning you away? And then she replies, mimicking an old crone, why, your excellence, no curse at all. I only say my commandments. I hope I may say my commandments, says she. And that's an upright answer. Aye, but then Judge Hawthorne say, recite for us your commandments, leaning avidly toward them. And all the 10 she could not say a single one. She never knew no commandments, and they had her in a flat lie. And so condemned her? Mary Warren's now a little strained, seeing his stubborn doubt. Why, they must when she condemned herself. But the proof. I told you the proof. It's hard proof, hard as rock, the judge said. Proctor, he pauses an instant and then, you will not go to court again, Mary Warren. I must tell you, sir, I will be gone every day now. I am amazed you do not see what weighty work we do. What work you do! It's strange work for a Christian girl to hang old women.